Welcome back for another helping of oysters, clams, and cousins presented by Bolin Media. I am Ross Bolin here with Barrett Dudley to discuss and review the final 2 episodes of The Bears Season 4, episodes 9 and 10. Barrett, how you doing, chef?
Exhausted today.
Sleepy boy?
Sleepy, very, very tired, very sleepy.
I'm with you if it helps.
I'm sure I look like a real sack of shit. You know,
you look fine.
No time to groom the old 5 o'clock shatter. Had to put a hat on just because the hair was just not doing it today.
This is just my general aesthetic you're describing.
And yeah, you know, I'm about to rip this bag of liquid IV sitting here on the table open and just raw dog one. I'm just gonna dump the powder straight into my mouth in hopes that the three times the electrolytes of the leading sports drink will help bring me back to life.
Just dump sack and get that liquid IV right in your face hole, huh?
Ross, I don't know if you saw this, but there were some rumored leaks of Stranger Things season 5 episode runtimes over the weekend on Instagram, and you would have needed many liquid IVs to get through them. But fortunately,
were they like feature length?
Co-creator Ross Duffer has now commented. He has responded with the I'll just say what he said. He said, "LOL, not even close to accurate." But these were jaw-dropping yet believable. The shortest episode was to be episode 3, 1 hour, 55 minutes.
Jesus, what? Okay.
Everything else was 210, 225, 25, 215, 230, 240, with a 3-hour finale. Now, look, he said LOL, not even close to accurate, but it does just remind me that I know you still have season 4 to catch up on.
I do.
And you are going to, I can tell that it's not even clocking to you yet that how those episodes stand on business with their runtimes. They are long. They are long. So just prepare yourself. And I think we all need to be prepared for some lengthy ones heading into season 5 in the final months of the year. But just in case you saw that, I saw that over the weekend and my jaw hit the floor. It has been debunked by co-creator, although nothing has been offered as to the actual runtime.
Good God, I just looked up season 4. 13 total hours.
Yeah.
9
episodes.
8 episodes.
9 episodes, yeah.
And the finale, episode 9, is 2 hours and 30 minutes long.
It's a movie, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is also a good time to remind everybody that just like in that story you just shared, the internet can no longer be trusted in any way, shape, or form.
Especially,
with stuff like with anything that's clickbaitish. Like Tyler, the Creator, dropped a new album today on the music side of things, and over the weekend there were all these rumors about like the feature list, like all these different artists that were going to be featured, and he had to come out on Twitter and be like, "Yo, not a single one of these people is on the album."
No, there's a whole cottage industry of Instagram accounts now that basically are
and Twitter
that just basically spread completely unsubstantiated rumors.
Yeah.
And they do it in like really official looking graphics packages and stuff.
So it goes viral?
Yeah. That is...
Even though it's utter horse shit, completely made up?
One that, college football season can't get here soon enough. But like at the end of this past season, there were just like, it was nonstop. The posts of Quinn Ewers and the number of millions that some no-name school, like unnamed school was offering him to come back to like transfer. It just kept ticking up by 1 million, like every week. It was like 6 million, 7 million, then 8 million. Nobody offered him $8 million. He would have taken $8 million to come back for a season of college football. I'm pretty sure.
I think 8 mil would have gotten it done.
I think it would have gotten it done. So it's just like, completely unfounded. So yeah, you got to be careful. You got to be careful out there.
What they taught us in journalism school was to always find 2 sources.
Double sourced.
Yeah.
Got to be double sourced.
To make sure your shit is straight, you know?
Yeah.
Well, we did it. We finished the Bear season 4.
We did. These episodes, not 2 hours and 20 minutes each.
No.
Rather short.
Yeah, episode 9, Tornado, was 38 minutes, written by Joanna Kalo and Christopher Storer, directed by Christopher Storer. I want to talk through what happens, and then I'll kind of give you my thoughts on the sode on the whole. But this is the one where Carm finally talks to his mom, Donna Berzatto. Brings her the photo album. They start going through it together, reminiscing on all the jagoffs.
So many jagoffs. You'll note that what's her name? Deborah? Donna. Double D. She doesn't have to. She doesn't have to throw out JOs the way that Uncle Jimmy does.
No.
She's just happy to call them jagoffs.
She just rips them.
Yeah.
Jagoffs. loves saying it. For some reason, that's a very popular word in the Berzotto family, apparently.
Yeah. I think it's a Chicago. It must be like a Chicago Midwest thing.
Part of their slang.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we don't have, down here, we don't have that.
We don't
really do jag-offs.
No. Especially not with a G.
I think in Jersey, they do jag-offs some. I feel like there's some jag-offs in The Sopranos.
Yes.
But no, it's not really one that we throw around much down south. Donna eventually starts crying when they get to a photo of Mikey. The whole scene is very tense and awkward, where they're both really going through it. Like, he doesn't really want to be there. She invited him inside. He tries to bail. She's like, come on.
Yeah.
Then she's very, very nervous, as she tells him, and just an emotionally charged one-on-one between mother and son.
What's your feeling nominally 8 minutes into this episode when you can see what they're doing and we're spending lots of time with Donna? And she is doing, and Jamie Lee Curtis, to the absolute best of her abilities, is doing the thing. She's doing a thing.
Oh, she was fantastic.
How do you feel? Are you good with it? Because I know that you have you bristle at this character, and so does my wife.
But not because it's a bad character, because it's a little too real.
Okay.
You know, like, if you've got a complicated relationship with your blonde, white, 60-something-year-old mom, this is a tough episode to get through.
Laura can't stand her. And I think she has a hard time with episodes like this, just because it's too.
Yeah, I mean, what she's captured, what Jamie Lee Curtis is capturing so well, and this doesn't directly apply to my mom, that was more of a joke than anything, is like, sometimes you meet people and you just know, based on the way they talk, their energy, the vibe they put out, that they've got really serious issues.
Yeah.
And it's deeply uncomfortable.
Yes.
If you're the type of person, an empath, if you will, who can like read that energy and pick up on it. And she is doing that with Donna Berzotto, maybe better than any character. I mean, I'm talking better than like Livia Soprano.
Yeah.
Because people love when I reference The Sopranos too much. She's just...
It's a good comp. It's a natural comp.
Yeah, like, a deeply, deeply flawed mother character.
Right.
And she really puts it on you. And it's like the like micro reactions in her face and shit that she's able to pull off.
Yes.
But to answer your question, like 8 minutes in, I basically had to like emotionally strap in. I was just like, oh, this is going to be... It's going to be one of them ones, man, where like they just kind of emotionally drain you over the course of this episode. But I thought it was super effective, very well done, and will definitely earn Jamie Lee Curtis another Emmy nod. I guess it'll be
next year.
Yeah. So Donna reads Carm this letter she wrote to him, which is very AA. I know she says she's been sober for coming up on a year. I don't think they directly reference Alcoholics Anonymous.
She is using all the language. She's essentially like making amends, right?
But she doesn't say amends.
Yeah.
She just But it feels like that she's probably following the program to a certain extent, having written all this down and laying it out for Carm.
Yeah.
Eventually, she tells Carm she loves him. He tells her he loves her. It sort of works. This whole dual apology they've got going on, right? But she kind of owns up to all of her shit, the yelling, the drinking, the taking out their family issues on the kids, and you finally see some real growth in this dysfunctional ass family over the course of really both these episodes. But this is what I've been begging for, like momentum.
Yep.
Show us the good stuff. And that starts to happen here. Like I said, Jamie Lee Curtis is just unbelievable. And I typically am in the same on the same team as your wife Laura, where I'm just like, oh God, here she is again. Like when she was ripping heaters outside of the wedding, I was like, please, please no. But this for me really, really worked. Carmen's up cooking for Donna. She brings up that dish, the tonado. That she had over in Europe. Talks about how like her and Carm's dad got in this huge fight.
Yeah.
The second they got off the plane or whatever, and she ended up wandering around by herself and got some tonado, which apparently looks disgusting. But
she went into a local's house. She got brought in by a local, and suddenly she's getting served tonado.
Right,
which is basically fish with mayonnaise.
That's what she describes it as. Yeah, but just hitting on like the comfort of food again, and sort of the beauty of restaurants, right? Although it did sound like it was literally someone's home.
Yeah.
Carm goes and checks out his childhood bedroom. does some healing in there, finds Claire Bear's sweater.
He does, yeah.
Which did not occur to me the first watch through. When he goes into the
green sweatshirt.
Yeah, I had to. I was rewatching this morning, making our outline, and before he even walked into the room, I was like, "Oh, it's Claire's sweater." Because last night when I was watching, I was like, "Okay, well, I guess he's going to put on that green sweater when he goes back downstairs." And then he gets back downstairs, he's not wearing the sweater, and I was like, "Huh, wonder why they showed us that sweater." So yeah, I was tired last night too.
Yeah. He's in his old childhood room. Thought they did a good job with the set dressing here.
Yeah.
When he goes into the closet, you see a lot of flannel shirts, stacks of clothing. I was wondering, it made me think about like production design. Do you think all of those clothes were properly sized for him?
Oh, that's a good question.
Like, did they make sure they got all like smalls and mediums, or did they just like grab a big bundle at the thrift store, didn't care what size, and they just all folded up there? You know what I mean? Like,
they probably had to go ballpark.
I always wonder kind of what they like how. Because, some people take that shit really seriously.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Like,
some shows in general.
That better be all clothes that actually fit me. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to do my character.
They get very OCD with it.
Right.
Whereas in Arrested Development, one of the long-running jokes in the series is that every time they open a cabinet, it's completely fucking empty
yeah.
except for the object they're going to grab. There's nothing in there.
Yeah. But yeah, I enjoyed that. Let's see. Your parents have moved around a bit, so you don't have a bedroom shrine to yourself.
No, man, I haven't had one since I went to college.
Yeah.
Actually.
Okay.
So it's definitely an L.
Mine is essentially exactly. It's sort of how I left it after high school. No wall art though. No like I think when I was 14,
Your
I had
Britney
a
Spears
picture.
going?
I had a Britney Spears poster. Yeah, naturally. That no longer lives there.
Well, that sucks. Because that'd be good fun to go home to.
Yeah.
But your parents still have your childhood house. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mine's long gone. Every once in a while, I go look at it on Zillow to see how it's changed over the years, and it is a wild trip to see it like redesigned.
Right.
But yeah, these final 2 episodes of season 4 are really big reminders of one of the central themes of this show, which is how much Mikey's death broke an already broken family. Mm-hmm. Honestly, something that had kind of slipped into the background for me. Even with this season opening with this flashback to Mikey.
The impact of Mikey. Yeah, definitely.
I feel like Mikey and his funeral and all that was brought up a lot more frequently in the first few seasons. And for some reason, it had just sort of faded in importance to me. So this was...
No, I agree.
I thought that was really cool,
Yep.
the way they reestablished that family trauma and how much it messed everyone up through these 2 episodes. Like I said, love the stuff with Carm and Donna. I really enjoyed that, as painful as it was to kind of get through.
I especially liked, you already said how this is kind of a reflection of a lot of the themes, including the very opening scene of this entire season. But one of the moms love to make sure their kids are fed, right? So this was a nice flip when she's like, "Let me make you something. Let me make you something," and he puts his foot down. He's like, "No, I'm making you something.
I'm the chef.
I'm the chef." And of course, he whips up this beautiful chicken dish that he learned at French Laundry. And I would note this was reminiscent of a scene that that I was kind of like casually watching. My wife had on an episode of season 2 of You from Netflix. And there's a character that is a chef. She's talking about how she went to cooking school, and she's like, the thing you got to wow people with, like the dish that you're kind of measured by, is your chicken. How do you make a chicken? Like a whole chicken like this. So it's, I feel like it's definitely like a kind of a French cooking school, like well-trained chefs know how to cook a chicken like this.
And wasn't chicken the one that when he's over in Europe and he's learning in season 2, that the guy's showing him how to like properly stuff it and like
that is at the French Laundry.
That's at French Laundry.
And that is the chicken that he cooks.
So that ties into this whole thing, and Richie even in the finale talking about how he bought the French Laundry cookbook and then was like, this is like a fucking science manual. There's no way I could make any of this, Yeah.
But I as in 2 episodes and in the back half of a season where we're wondering and kind of thinking about kind of what type of passion Carmy has left for cooking, I think here it's like shown that when something that he does still have passion for is taking care of people, the way that he described in that opening scene, right? So cooking for his mom is this like massive act of love and care and I mean, honestly, forgiveness in a way. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yep, that's exactly what I was saying.
It's also just highlighting that kind of full circle thing that happens where like at a certain point, you're taking care of your parents,
Right.
Depending on how things go for you culturally. But no, it was a big moment for Donna and Carm here. Sydney runs into Uncle Jimmy. He's kind of pacing anxiously outside of the bear. Jimmy apologizes to Sydney for failing her. She kind of sees it the other way around, like they failed him. They talk. He's complimentary, very impressed with her as a young lady and as a chef herself, and tells her that her mom would be very happy with the way she turned out. Commends her for sticking around the bear regardless of it being a shitstorm. I still have this feeling where, like, when Jimmy's shitting on the bear here, and even in episode 10 where, we have our big conversation out back and everybody's kind of shitting on the restaurant. It's a mess. We're running out of money. It's a fucking nightmare here. I'm like, I don't know. I feel like you guys have pulled it together really well. Like, this is a well-oiled machine at this point. I get the overall sentiment is sort of lingering from past issues.
Yeah.
But it kind of bummed me out to hear Jimmy shitting on his own, what is essentially his restaurant.
Yeah, it is interesting, right?
Like,
because
it's not that bad.
It sort of seems like they achieved the goal to stop losing money.
Yeah.
I don't remember the kind of the mandate from Computer and Jimmy being like, hey, start turning a massive profit in 4 weeks or you're cooked.
Right.
It was like, hey,
like stop bleeding out.
Hemorrhaging money and make this thing like at least flat.
Sustainable.
And then which they I feel like they sort of got there. I guess to Computer's point, and there's more on this later in this episode, it's like, yes, you've leveled out, you're breaking even, but that leaves you no room for new hires, promotions, salary raises, growth, like
anything going wrong.
Exactly. So it's like still, they're still on the ledge, basically. And I guess that's kind of what Jimmy's saying here is there might not be a really good reason to continue this.
Yeah. Marcus's old roommate / realtor, Chester, shows up to get Marcus to sign these final documents for the selling of his mother's house.
/ lava?
Yeah, what is going on here? So Chester meets Luca.
Yeah.
Marcus's stage.
Uh-huh.
And is really into him? Or just is jealous of him?
Jealous, very jealous.
Because he's tall and handsome.
Right.
Okay. So is the takeaway for us supposed to be that Marcus and Chester were an item? Or are an item?
They certainly
hint at it.
Yeah.
But no real confirmation one way or the other.
Yeah.
It was just...
It also could... this is the bear. So I don't know if they're just doing a bit where, like, Chester, the roommate, is jealous of a guy that his friend is now close with and working because he's a fucking weirdo.
I think that's kind of the point too. Is like, what's the difference?
Like, is he just one of these? Is he just a fac kind of?
Yeah,
right? Like, is he just kind of a?
It was
like
a little fackish,
like a goofus,
right?
Or is there more here? And I
felt like there was more.
Surely they must want us kind of thinking about this and wondering, because it seems like there's potentially more. But.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you just took that one scene at face value where he's really awkward around him, that'd be one thing. But then he has this follow-up conversation Chester does with Sydney.
Right.
And that I felt like was like confirmation that there was something going on there.
Right.
But Marcus genuinely does treat Chester like a friend.
Yes. So
my honest takeaway was this didn't really say anything about Marcus.
Okay.
That Chester is gay and was really attracted to, what's his name? Luca. And so it was just, he just didn't know how to handle that and kind of blew it.
Okay.
That was my takeaway. It was a random aside, though, mixed in with all this other very serious plot-heavy shit. Chester's favorite restaurant is Hooters.
The Hoots, yeah. Let's go to Hoots afterwards.
Which that doesn't really fit in, you know?
Yeah.
At least with like stereotype-wise. So anyway, that was some fun little comedic relief there. Albert Schnurr pitches Ibra and the Beef Window Boys on replicating the beef. Now, we've got some specifics around this. Replicate it once in the north suburbs.
Yep.
Once in the south burbs.
Yep.
With a commissary kitchen somewhere in the middle to ensure quality control. Now, I didn't quite understand the commissary kitchen part of it. Like, how does it ensure quality control? Does that mean all of the sandwiches are made in the middle location and then they're shipped to the north and south?
So it doesn't necessarily mean that every single sandwich is made at the commissary kitchen and then shipped out. But it does mean that that's a central hub for taking in all of the ingredients and maybe making stuff like the bread, for example.
Okay.
So I don't think it would make a ton of sense to make a wet Italian beef sandwich
Yeah, I was
and
gonna
then
say.
send it out. But I think it would make sure that all of the ingredients are uniform across the board. So everything that gets sent to the 3 locations is all the same.
So you'd have the north location, the south location, and then the original beef window.
Yeah.
So you technically have 3 locations selling.
Yeah.
And when
I think that's
when
what they're
Ibra
saying.
is like, you said you like keep it simple, start small. He says 3 is small.
Yeah.
Triples is best. and yeah, so Albert wants to be their consigliere like Robert Duvall in The Godfather. Great Godfather reference here. Also a great Casablanca reference later in the episode between Ibra and Albert when he says they're going to have a long, beautiful friendship. But this is clearly going to be how this operation becomes financially viable in season 5. And Barrett, you either read this on Reddit or you were a psychic because you completely nailed it.
Yeah. I mean, I had heard it talked about that, like, hey, they sure seem to be making it clear that the sandwich window's working. Elbow, elbow, elbow.
Yeah, and they definitely laid it on pretty thick, but I thought there was going to be like a curveball.
And then once they were like really hammering that Ibra was like super invested in this and, you know,
Wants to make opportunity.
wants to create opportunity. I was like, okay, this seems like this is where this is going. Now, here's my question. Albert Schnurr basically lays this all out for computer. What's to stop them from just cutting his ass out now and going and doing this on their own?
I guess not being pieces of shit. But it's a good point. It is a good point because he meets with computer. Their dynamic was fantastic. They
Yep.
kind of hit it off. He's like, I have a nickname too. He's like, what is it? I'm not telling you. I respect that.
Yeah.
But yeah, he pitches the computer on his idea clearly. The computer wants Jimmy to talk to Schnurr. Jimmy won't stop honking his fucking car horn, which just about drove me up the wall, dude. I
tough.
didn't. Come on, man.
tough.
Really? But they leave it at that. Like they don't really, other than the scene where Ibra like shakes hands with Schnurr and tells him like, yeah, we want you on board.
Chris Storer must know lots of people that will literally just scream over you no matter what, and they will not stop until they get their way.
And again, this
Like
feels
he must know people like this because this happens so regularly.
it feels
this show.
very New York City,
Yes.
Chicago cultural.
Yes, it does.
Right? Because frankly, where we are from down here in Texas, like if you did this, you'd get your ass beat. Like you can't treat people this way.
That's right.
Like if you held down the horn like that on me, I'd be like, get out of the car. We're throwing down right now. It's far too loud. I'm so overstimulated.
Yeah, it all has this like tinge of like mafioso, like,
It does, yeah.
you know, Goodfella type vibe with the way that they talk and certainly this type of antics.
Loud Italian stereotypes.
Yeah. Exactly.
Tina finally gets the pasta dish done in under 3 minutes. And frankly, if you blinked, you missed this. Felt like that accomplishment did not get near enough attention considering how much of the season we spent worrying about this fucking timer and her being able to get it done. I think she literally did like 2:59.
257, 258.
257, yeah, like
somewhere
right
there,
under
there.
the bar.
Yeah.
And so what was the takeaway here? That Luca and Jess essentially like tricked her by telling her to making it a casual situation?
Yes, but that doesn't totally vibe with the last conversation that T and Luca had, which was all about how you eventually learn to love the pressure and then can't do it without the pressure.
And you need it.
Then you need the pressure. So
It was just kind of weird.
they kind of flipped it, right? Because they basically had her do a dish
With no pressure.
with no pressure. Forget the timer. Stop looking at it.
Outside of the service window.
Just make the dish. Hey, test dish. Let's go.
Yeah.
And there it was.
Yeah, and let's see her do it during service, though. You know?
Right.
Anyway, good for Tina, I guess.
Yeah, good for Tina.
It just kind of felt like a cop-out after all that to be like, okay, well, she made it as a test dish with no one else in the kitchen except Luca and Jess, who are very conspicuously watching her from directly behind her the entire 3 minutes.
Look, Jess is a certified kitchen whisperer.
Yeah.
And she exists to give people feel-good moments. And I need all of them. Give me 24 season 5, you know? More Jess. Let's get her going.
Oh,
Come
I think we'll get more Jess. I feel pretty good about that. I still, like, I'm shipping the hell out of Richie and Jess.
Obviously, yeah.
Especially given the way things end for Richie in episode 10. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, dude, that's happening. I think we're getting a lot of good feel-good moments with Jess in season 5. Good for Tina, though. Suge gets a call from Food and Wine. They are publishing something about the bear, but it is not a review. They're naming Marcus one of their best new chefs for dominating the world of pastries?
Yeah.
Which, that was a real, not only was it just generally a curveball, they also set it up to where they're like, Suge's like, they're going to announce best new chef, and everyone looks at Sid, and Sid like, ooh, it's going to be me. And then the camera pans over to Marcus, and they're like, it's Marcus, the pastry boy. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And I like the win for Marcus. It's not that I don't. And yeah, every single dessert he puts together over there is a fucking art form.
Right.
I get it. But
High
like,
art.
I don't know. I guess we just needed a high moment for Marcus on some level. It just, from a storytelling standpoint, it kind of threw me off. I was like, whoa, okay.
Here was
Are
my
we crediting Luca?
Here's my takeaway from a storytelling perspective. This was they couldn't just go all the way. They're saving the Michelin star. They're saving Sid's big accomplishment and achievement.
Season 5.
So they're sprinkling in. They're like giving us these kind of like small victories.
Okay, you're
here
right.
Towards the end, so it's like, oh, things are starting to turn around. Where the ship is, it's turning. It's hard to turn, but it's turning, baby. And I do we think that maybe the Food and Wine guy was Mr. Chris or whatever his name was in the snow episode?
No, I can't remember his name. But yeah.
Right? Wasn't that? Turns out that was Food and Wine guy, not Michelin star guy. Probably.
Maybe. Not sure it matters.
Yeah, but so that's what this was. It's like, hey, we're getting some accolades now, some positive ones, just not quite the huge fish that we thought we might be reeling in.
But a win like this, short of getting a Michelin star, is kind of the next best thing for a restaurant because it's very specific. It's like, you want a dessert that's going to knock your socks off?
Yep.
This dude, Marcus at the Bear, is killing it. But I also did feel like, shouldn't somebody throw a little love to Luca over there?
Mm-hmm.
The guy who's working for free, who's like goated at all of this kitchen shit and is a huge part of what's happening.
Right.
Regardless, good for Marcus. Carm there's this short little scene where he goes and sits with Richie and tells Richie he went and saw his mom, and Richie's like, yeah, okay, bullshit, like takes it as like some kind of sarcastic lie, doesn't believe him. Not really sure what we were supposed to take away from that, other than like, I guess the ball is sort of rolling towards more amicable communication between these two men. And then Carm goes into the fridge that he got stuck in during season 2. And he makes a phone call. And at first I was like, who's he talking to? Like, I thought it was maybe his dad. Maybe it was Claire. But it's Jimmy. He ends up leaving this long voicemail for Uncle Jimmy. I was waiting for him to get cut off by the voicemail box the way that Richie did earlier in the season. Apologizes to Jimmy for letting him down and for failing him, but says he knows how to fix it. Which, just put a pin in that. He says he knows how to fix it. This is Carm, who is completely oblivious to the plan with the beef window and is going to continue talking about fixing things in the season finale. All right? He knows how to fix it. He says that to Jimmy.
Yeah.
Pete calls Sydney to see if she's looked over the new agreement. Finally, somebody makes this phone call, has this conversation 20 episodes later, and he tells Sydney the change that Carm made. Great payoff here as a viewer. Carm is out. It's one side Jimmy and one side Bear, and the Bear side is only Sydney and Nat, as he calls her, Suge, as we call her. Roll credits. So we finally get that, and I was like, yes, huge, awesome. We sort of suspected there would be something like this. I was more on the side that thought he was going to make Sydney like an equal partner to Carm.
So it sounds like maybe she was already.
And that now
it was three of them on that side.
Yeah.
And now it is 2.
Yes. I think you're right.
Yeah.
So this was the best episode of the season to me.
Okay.
I loved this. I thought it was fantastic. It did all of the different things that I've harped on all season long with our coverage of the Bear in terms of what the Bear is best at.
Yeah.
Had the big emotional moments, the really trying, tense moments, and some big, not huge wins, but like the middle ground wins, like you said. They sort of sprinkled some wins on us.
Totally.
For the feel-good stuff.
They're moving in the right direction. Everybody is,
And they avoided any conversations to me that felt like contrived or forced,
right,
or a little over the top in terms of believability.
Yep.
And I would note, no facts.
Correct.
No facts in
Yeah.
either of these two episodes. And look,
Yeah.
there was a point where I really appreciated the facts, but the fact that this show ended this season with no fact action, the final two sods, of which I loved both,
Yeah.
it's kind of telling, man.
Yeah.
So I feel like they got the message. You know, Christopher
Maybe.
Storer got the message after season 3.
At the very least, they know that when they need to push this type of feeling,
They have to avoid
it's time to
the over-the-top silliness.
Yeah, the facts have to fade to the background.
Yeah. Getting in the proper nutrition every day is tough for most of us. Greens in particular. Veggies are a challenge. I've tried some greens supplements, but frankly, nothing has ever really stuck until Factor Form's Daily Greens. Factor is a longtime sponsor of our show, and if you've loved their meals, you will love their greens. Factor Form time, baby! Most of us dread drinking greens, but Factor Form changed the game. You'll actually crave your greens. As the sister brand to Factor Meals, Factor Form was designed to work hand in hand with your meals, making better nutrition effortless. Just one scoop delivers 100% of your daily nutrients, filling nutrient gaps, supporting whole body health, and helping you feel your best with a refreshing, citrusy, clean, and smooth taste that's actually enjoyable to drink. Mix a single serve pack in water and you're good to go. The problem with most green supplements is that they taste like an old shoe. Not so with Factor Form, which is delicious while being just as healthy for you as those other brands. Daily Greens by Factor Form is made from real vegetables packed with a whole serving of kale and spinach without tasting like it. In a blind taste test, Daily Greens ranked number 1 in taste, texture, and aroma, beating out the biggest names in the industry. They've also got delicious protein powder and hydration boosters as well. Within days, you'll feel a difference, more energy, less bloat, sharper focus. It's a daily habit that feels like a win because it tastes good and makes you feel even better. Start your day right with Daily Greens by Factor Form at factor75.com/OCC to get 40% off plus free shipping on your first order. That's factor75.com/OCC for 40% off plus free shipping. Factor75.com/OCC. See the link and details in the description of this episode. Season finale, episode 10, titled Goodbye. 33 minutes, written and directed by Christopher Storer. This entire episode, literally the entire episode, takes place in an alleyway behind the restaurant.
Yep.
Picks up immediately after the service that we see the squad prepping for at the end of episode 9.
Yep, in episode 9.
Which made it very cool. Sydney is out there after service with her head against the wall, contemplating things when Carmen approaches her. Sid apparently didn't talk to Carm the entire service, so he's like suspicious of what's going on with her, and they get into the most long-winded, prototypical Sydney and Carmi conversation ever with, like, here's what I mean, a bunch of yelling and talking over each other for about 13 straight minutes.
Yes. When this episode was all said and done, I really, really liked it. But like a lot of things in The Bear, you have to go through some strife to get to the good stuff.
You got to earn it.
You got to earn it.
Go through the gauntlet, dude.
And for the first 10 minutes when they are doing their typical thing, where they are both just yelling at each other, neither is listening or hearing the other, and they are just yelling.
Bunch of incomplete sentences.
Yeah.
Where you got to be a mind reader and plug in the gaps.
It's really, really frustrating and tough. It's tough. It's a tough watch because you just like... You want to grab these people by the shoulders and be like, shut the fuck up for 2 seconds and let somebody get a thought out and then think about that thought and then respond clearly to that thought.
Right.
With your own thought. Stop this communicate, this
one at a time.
The piss poor communication. Like I can't handle this. And eventually they sort of push through that and start actually having a conversation,
it just takes forever.
Which was very gratifying, but it took forever in classic Bear form.
Yeah, I completely agree. I absolutely hated this for the first 13 minutes, and basically until Richie comes out.
Right.
I could not handle it. I am so sick of seeing it. It felt like we were backsliding, not only them as characters, or at least Carm as a character, but also like the show in general, especially considering the momentum of episode 9 and Carm's ability to healthily communicate with his own mother. I was like, why now would he be having this complete and total comms breakdown with like his number 2 at the restaurant? It was so frustrating, dude. Even on the Sydney side of things, while I get it, like he should have told her, they should have been talking about this. Like she wants an explanation, and she wants an explanation that is good enough for her to be able to rationalize all this. Like I get it, but like just something about the Sydney of this all honestly didn't even work for me by the end of it. Like I was like, what's like he's giving you all the respect you deserve. and the opportunity to do basically what Shapiro was offering you. It's your restaurant, run the show, except instead of like, the glitz and glam of a new place and needing to go hire all these people, it's the thing you love about this place that everyone here, as he puts it, would jump in front of a train for you. Like, you already have the right team in place, and I'm basically giving it to you. It's yours.
Yeah.
You and we'll get to the detail. Anyway, my point is, I really, really struggled here at the beginning too. And I agree with you. By the end of it, I was like, okay, yeah.
Yeah, they do finally get to saying some things that feel more than just like vacant screaming.
It's like stress for the sake of stress.
Right. But yeah, I get that Sydney feels like the mentor that she signed up to work with is abandoning her, basically. So it doesn't feel like a promotion or like I believe in you. It feels like being
still a loss,
being left by being hung out to dry in a way.
Okay, yeah.
And that's when you really wish that they would just say a little bit more about what they're thinking. Like, explain a little bit more about your deep, dark depression, Carmi. Tell us what you've done wrong and what you think you need to go fix. And then, Sydney, have a real response to that instead of just more screaming. Like,
tell us the thing that you just said. Tell us that it feels like you're being abandoned.
Exactly.
And that really hurts, and you love Carmi, and you don't want to see him go.
Right.
Why don't you say those things?
Exactly. But these people...
They're incapable.
Are incapable of that level of communication. And so they get to where they can. And then when Richie comes in, it's an even more satisfying conversation.
Yeah, honestly, one of my takeaways from this first 13 minutes was, by the end of the episode, I was like, thank God I won't have to watch Carm and Sydney talk anymore in season 5.
Well, you don't know that.
Well, I'm just assuming that if he's gone, then I won't have to relive this type of shit over and over and over again, like we have the first 4 seasons. Yeah. Sydney deeply upset, feeling abandoned by Carm, says he's leaving and that he's quitting. He tries to explain himself. Essentially, Carm tells her that he needs to leave the bear to be able to heal. That's the gist of it.
Yeah.
That's the gist of it. That he's been using the restaurant as a distraction rather than facing his issues and healing from them. And it's not fair to Sydney or the other employees. And of course, you'd have to be a complete madman to not agree with what he's saying.
Yeah, he ran away from the situation in the first place to go, he ran away from his family to not deal with them and to deal with the collective trauma that he had been dealt by them.
And the loss from Mikey.
And then he just kind of kept running from it. And even though he came home, this is like a continuation for him of that escape, as I think even Richie says.
Yeah, escapism. Even with the menu changes and all the chaos, right? He has to keep it in chaos because, and this is a very common trope for people who endure traumatic experiences, like safety and calm don't feel right anymore. You need chaos and suffering to feel normal. And that's what Carm's been chasing the whole time we've been watching this show, essentially. So regardless, Sydney, not pleased with the explanation, very upset. Carm says he has a plan to get them out of the debt they're in before he leaves, but he actually doesn't share what that plan is.
He does not, no. He's probably going to sell the rest of his salvage denim collection from the oven. And that's good. What's going to
get him out of the debt?
To get him out of the debt, yeah.
Yeah, he just keeps saying they'll figure it out. And I'm like, well, you're not going to figure it out. Ibra figured it out.
Yeah.
You bum ass. What were you talking about when you left Jimmy that voicemail saying you knew how to fix it? You clearly don't. So we'll see. Maybe there's a wrinkle there. That will get delivered in season 5.
Right.
But I felt a little weird about Carm trying to take credit with Jimmy for having a way to fix it when in fact he does not. Or at least fails completely to deliver on any idea here.
Yeah, yes.
And yet we see an actual idea, the creation of opportunity by Ibra that very well could fix all of this. Yeah. So Sydney picks up smoking cigarettes and then in an astonishing move offers her cig to Carm, who quits quitting as a result. I'll tell you, as a nicotine boy, this hit like a train. When she lights the cigarette, I was like, it's funny. She doesn't smoke, her deal, it's funny. But when she hands it to him, I was like, no! No, Carm, don't do it. And he takes that first hit, and it's like, you can just see him relax. It's been like months, I feel like, or something, at this point. Knocks him off the wagon, dude.
Yeah.
Brutal. Carm tells her he knows Shapiro offered her the gig that he offered her. So that's what the phone call was from Shapiro to Carm.
Yep.
Carm says he smokes Shapiro, and so does Sydney.
I like this.
I like the confidence there.
I smoke him.
I smoke him.
And so do you.
Yeah. Carm tells Sydney that any kind of good that happens in this building started when she walked in, and any possibility of it surviving is with her. He says, quote, "I believe in you more than I've ever believed in myself because you're the bear." Which was a little cheesy and somehow worked for me.
It did. Because I described that scene halfway through the season where she is doing the cooking to that remix of St. Vincent Slow Disco. And then either there's that scene and there's either the episode right before or that episode or right after is the one where she just like comes in and like does the pasta dish in like 2:34.
Yeah.
She just like crushes it.
She's a savant.
And it's very much like what it reminded me of is Neo becoming the one in the Matrix when he just starts like defending all the bullets and everything starts being green and black stripes basically. And so this I felt like that was echoed again because he almost could have said, because you're the one.
Yeah.
But instead he says you're the bear. But I liked it. It was basically the same. He was like, you're him, you're her. You're the one. You're the one to shepherd this place into success. It's not me. Right. So I thought that was cool. And this is the point of the conversation where it started feeling better.
This is not important, but just clocking this. I think she actually does cook to St. Vincent's Slow Disco, not remixed. And then in the credits of this episode, we get Slow Disco remixed because it's way more upbeat.
Okay, we can look it up. I think
regardless.
I think the fast one is the original, is the album version.
I don't know. Sure. I've been listening to it a lot.
Okay.
I could be wrong though.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Richie comes out 13 minutes in. And I'll tell you, I've never been happier to see that motherfucker. I was like, oh, thank God. I was really worried at that point that the whole episode was just going to be Carmy and Sydney talking.
Yeah.
And I couldn't take much more.
So the whole thing, like, this was I had to look up if Chris Storer has ever written plays because this is a one-act play.
Oh, yeah.
With one stage and people coming in from like stage left and stage right, especially
great point.
Essentially making their entrance onto the stage. And that's what Richie does. He basically pops onto the stage to add a new character and it was relief. You're like, yes, something new. Let's divert the attention. Even if these two are going to yell at each other,
dude.
At least it's new yelling.
And for me, more believable yelling. So Sydney tells Richie that Carm is quitting. Carm says he's retiring, and Richie responds, "You're retiring? You're 12.
I like that.
Wondering if you noticed this. Right after he says you're 12, screen goes black, cut to what is a commercial break.
Mm-hmm.
So the commercial break cuts in this episode were really weird if you're watching on streaming without commercials because there are several of them, and they're kind of... You're like, wait, what? Oh, okay, now we're back.
Abrupt, yeah.
It felt a little weird. Well, I'm not sure if I've ever noticed that before to this extent.
So I think that's actually a great piggyback on what I was just saying. Because this is essentially one act, one scene, there are no real natural cut breaks.
No good stopping points, yeah.
And so you really feel those. I have noticed the commercial breaks on this season. I feel like more than I have in prior seasons. And every time it happens, it's fine. It just always reminds me that I'm like, oh yeah, there are people that watch the show with commercials.
Yeah, so like last night I watched it at home and I have Hulu without ads, so there were no commercials, so I noticed every single one of these. And then this morning at Bolin Media, rewatching it to do our outline, for some reason producer Kade is signed into a different Hulu account. I guess it's his, and he does have ads on it. So it wasn't this awkward pause.
Mm-hmm.
It felt a lot more natural. But anyway, I got to experience it both ways.
Yeah, but so they basically have to do these little act breaks and little beat moments in all the episodes that kind of like make natural classic sense for commercial breaks. But when it's an episode like this,
it's tough.
You feel the seams a lot more.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So finally, this was like a 20 episode worth of build up payoff here for Carm and Richie airing out their differences in front of Sydney. It starts with Carm telling Richie he went to Mikey's funeral. Richie almost destroys him. I thought they were finally going to fight. I was like, thank God, nobody's ever needed to throw down more than these two. But they end up actually talking it out. They eventually open up to each other. They share the resentments they built up for one another. They heal. So much healing. And it was really cool to see. And I mean, I would still argue that they made us wait too long for this.
Okay.
Because it started really grating on us, like
earlier in the season.
like,
even.
come on,
right,
man. We
right.
still watching these two grown men fucking yell at each other every time they communicate. It turns toxic.
Yep.
We're 4 seasons deep, and they've never just had this conversation. But it did feel really, really good to see it finally come to fruition. And you got to give, look, I have not given enough credit to Richie as a character for the growth that he has shown. And really, his has been easier to track than Carm's. Carm's is shrouded in a lot of weird shit, and there's been ups and downs and backsliding, but Richie generally seems to have been on a good path towards realizing, like, you know what? I need to make changes in my life. I need to become a better person and a more serious adult and a professional. And he's been sort of on this upward climb that's been consistent through 4 seasons.
We see Richie vocalize a lot more in 4 seasons.
Yeah, that's very true.
Carmi has a lot of scenes where he is basically like watery-eyed and just kind of like nodding along or letting something hit him or trying to not let it hit him. But even in the first 15 minutes of Tornado with his mom,
that's mostly what he's doing.
He doesn't say anything. He's just
about to cry.
He's about to cry. He kind of doesn't want to be there. He almost doesn't want to listen. He almost doesn't listen.
You think he might run out at any moment?
But then he accepts it. But it's all very, 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 very internal, which is why I think it's much harder to track his growth. Whereas Richie is a little bit more hard on his sleeve, will say more.
Yes. And he has this pre-service speeches that allow him to insert things in there as well. You're absolutely correct.
I agree with your insight there that it's been easier to watch Richie grow, harder to kind of calculate where Carmi is,
where he's at exactly. Yeah. So
and I'll just say you're right. 40 episodes in basically to get to this moment, and I think it's another reminder that in the original pitch of this show, and I know we're obviously going 5 seasons now, throw the roadmap out because who knows when this is going to end, but it feels like probably in the original 3-season arc, this happens at the end of season 3, and probably Carmi leaves, and maybe we get a little bit more closure about the bear and its future successes, or maybe not, but like it seems like this buttoning things up with Richie and kind of having these come to Jesus moments about the grief and the resentment and dealing with the death of Mikey is probably how a 3rd season, if that had been final, would have ended. I think at the end of season 3 in the original pitch would have had a lot of this.
Right. And that makes sense.
And instead we kind of started kicking this can down the road with this season 3 extension. And then I think once they went into season 4, they probably knew that they were going to keep it going, and so now we're here, and it's at the end of this season, and we've got more to look forward to. But it was a little drawn out, but I'm glad we got here.
It was, and it was great once we got there. Wondering if you noticed this. So I watched with subtitles, and I don't think many people who don't watch with subtitles caught this, but Sydney. She's out there. Richie basically asks her to stay. She tries to bail.
Yes.
She's like trying to smoke a cig and has no idea what she's doing. She drops a racial word on Richie. Did you hear that?
No.
Or did you catch that?
I don't think so.
It's very, very subtle, but it's not so subtle if you've got subtitles on because you're like, oh! She's like, he says something like, you don't smoke. And she's like, racial word, who cares right now? And I was like, well, that's a first for this show. It was just kind of funny that in that moment, they used that as a little bit of like comedic relief almost.
Okay.
But like producer Kade, for example, when I brought this up to him, was like, no, I did not catch that at all. So I think I only saw it because I had subtitles on. Anybody who didn't notice it. Carm explains to Richie that outside of the kitchen, he doesn't know what he's like. Mm-hmm. He doesn't know himself. He's been running from himself ever since Mikey died, and essentially he needs to go find himself, right? So eventually, Carm.
What do you think? What do you think he's asking himself?
What do I think he's asking himself?
Yeah. What's the question he's asking himself?
Who am I?
Who am I?
God. Eventually, Carm, Richie, and Sydney.
I have a lot to ponder.
Good pull. Carm, Richie, and Sydney get on the same page with one caveat. Sydney wants Richie added to the Bear side of the agreement with her and Nat. So it's one side Jimmy, Bear side Sid, Nat, and Richie. Now, I feel like it's a bigger deal than maybe the show impresses upon you if you're not like a business owner or a small business owner or whatever. But like essentially, Sid is carving off part of her ownership for Richie, right? And also kind of assuming that Nat is going to be on board with that. It's not that I think that would be a big deal or an issue between the three of them. It's just that this is a significant move she is making beyond just being symbolic, which like she says something to Richie along the lines.
Well,
of
he
like,
thinks it's just like a gesture, and she
who
says,
has time for
who has
gestures?
time for gestures?
Yeah.
Right.
This would be a very big deal. She's making him part of the ownership team, essentially. And so it's one side Jimmy, Bear side Sid, Nat, and Richie. He says, "Fuck yes, Chef Sydney. It is a fucking honor." Love that from Richie. Love this for Richie. He does ask, though, like, so, like, as a now member of the management team, how are we going to keep this place open? And Carm says he'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But the beef, clearly, consigliere Albert Schnurr. Suge comes out. Sid tells her Carm is leaving the restaurant, all restaurants. And Richie tells her Carm went to Mikey's funeral. Suge doesn't even really have to say anything. She just gets it.
Yep.
Hugs Carm, cries, happy cries, sort of.
Yes.
Smiles and shit.
I think so.
Like she...
Nice reflection of their phone call from
You're
earlier,
right. That was her that had that conversation with him
was
about
like-
having fallen out of love with the place.
Yes.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's happy for him that he's accepting this and going to do something about it, right? Footage of the L train, footage of the inside of the restaurant with no one in it, footage of the doomsday clock counting down to 0, cue that St. Vincent song Slow Disco remix.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that that they're playing the it's another song that they've used before. It's by a singer-songwriter from Chicago whose name is slipping my mind right now, but hang on one sec. It is hang on. I know this is very good podcasting.
Dave Matthews.
It is not Dave Matthews. It is...
I was kidding, just for the record. Dave is from South Africa.
Where the hell is this song? It's not Bruce Springsteen. Is it
Here, you look it up. I'll take care of some business.
Okay.
This show is sponsored by Liquid IV. I've been spending a lot of time at the pool this summer. Got a short beach trip planned for the end of July. Very stoked for that. But, you know, being out in the sun for hours at a time, my main priorities are sunscreen to protect my white ass and Liquid IV to keep me from getting dehydrated. No matter how hot your summer gets, Liquid IV can keep you hydrated for the adventures ahead. The summer heat means it's the perfect time to try their new Arctic raspberry flavor. Plus, Liquid IV has sugar-free solutions powered by Live Hydroscience for smart hydration. Visit liquidiv.com and use code OCC at checkout for 20% off your first order. We've been loving Liquid IV here at Bowling Media for many, many years because it gets the job done, hydrates better than water alone, and tastes incredible with their variety of delicious flavors. Liquid IV makes regular water tasty as hell. My favorite flavor right now is the white peach. Can't get enough of it. Mix it in my water bottle in the morning and before workouts as well to get 3 times the electrolytes of leading sports drinks. We got like 20 bags of Liquid IV in the storage closet here at Bowling Media, so it's always available for us and our guests. We love it. Guests love it as well. Remembering to drink enough water every day is a constant struggle for most of us, and as a result, a lot of us are walking around dehydrated without even realizing it, which affects everything, your energy levels, your mental health, everything. Liquid IV has you covered all summer long. You just dump one of these little Liquid IV packets into your water so that it tastes 3 times better with 3 times the electrolytes of leading sports drinks and is significantly more hydrating than water alone. Explore the delicious sugar-free options, including white peach, lemon lime, rainbow sherbet, and more. You can find all their flavors online. Their newest flavor is Arctic raspberry. Plus, discover more fun flavors like cotton candy or popsicle firecracker. Just one stick in 16 ounces of water hydrates better than water alone, powered by Live Hydroscience, an optimized ratio of electrolytes, essential vitamins, and clinically tested nutrients that turn ordinary water into extraordinary hydration. 3 times the electrolytes of the leading sports drink, 8 essential vitamins and nutrients, always non-GMO, vegan, gluten-free, dairy-free, and soy-free. Squeeze the most out of your summer with Liquid IV. Tear, pour, live more. Go to liquidiv.com and get 20% off your first order with code OCC at checkout. That's 20% off your first order with code OCC at liquidiv.com. Did you find it?
I did, yes. It's Bruce Hornsby. The show goes on.
Ah.
It's like this very like 80s singer-song. It sounds like Phil Collins or Genesis or you know, it's like the show goes on. It's got a lot of piano and stuff like that. That's the song that they're playing when they're like doing the Chicago cuts and they're showing this kind of the still videos of the kitchen. I do see here on the Bear official playlist that there is a song called Fast Slow Disco by St. Vincent. So you might be right on that one. Also wanted to call out from episode 9 and 10 had a bunch of the great needle drops. Really, really good ones.
One in Carm's room when he's...
Carm's Room, that is the Eddie Vedder cover of Save It for Later, which is another banger. Love
Sooner
that.
or later. That goes
Yeah,
hard.
It does. It really.
I'm going to pull that up on my Spotify as we speak.
Yes, but Bruce Hornsby show goes on into credits scene of with St. Vincent, Slow Disco or Fast Slow Disco, not sure which.
What's the Eddie Vedder song called? Save It for Later.
Save it for later. And I think
Add to light songs.
there's an original version too, which is also good, but that Eddie Vedder cover is really nice.
Oh wait, are they saying save it for later?
Save it for later.
Not sooner or later?
He says both.
Oh,
sooner or later.
All right, well, there you go.
That's part of the chorus.
All right. No, we talked about this last week, but the Bear does music well.
It does.
Very well. It's good shit. Great needle drops.
If you ever just need like a good playlist, Bear official playlist, it'll
very
go.
solid.
Yeah.
All right, so how'd you feel about all this?
I really, really liked the last 2 episodes. Obviously there were mixed reviews about this season. I heard people call it a waste of time again, et cetera, et cetera.
Oh, that's just...
Completely disagree.
Come on.
I feel like we got real movement, real growth. I mean, big things happened here. He let his mom back into his life in episode 9. He started healing that relationship. He has a real conversation with Richie instead of just screaming "fuck you" at each other.
Dealing with Claire as well.
Yes, and we can only assume that him leaving the restaurant might do good things for his relationship with Claire, especially
have to assume,
when he shows up with the green sweatshirt in tow.
Absolutely.
I loved where this went. I thought it was a great place to jump off for a new season. Feels like we're turning the page a bit. Like I feel like I'm going to be reading a new chapter of the book, which is really exciting. And I'm pretty sure Jeremy Allen White's still going to be in season 5, although I could be wrong, but I think he's going to be
big question mark.
They're doing something besides working at the Bear, at least for a little bit. And I felt really good about where they left us. Some of the show's pitfalls are also its greatest strengths, and our conversations have been have really illuminated that, right? Like sometimes
we've tracked that nonstop.
Sometimes with the one-on-one conversations and the yelling and the screaming and the ultra close-ups of people, in all caps, people having conversations, it doesn't always work. But then when they get it right, it really, really, really works. And this show does it better than almost any I can think of. So we got really good moments of that in episodes 9 and 10. I thought it was great filmmaking. I loved the style of that final episode. We just mentioned how good the music was in the final 2 episodes, and it left me in a really positive place.
Stylistically, this season accomplished as much as any other season of this show, in my opinion. When you look at things like episode 9 and the difference between episode 9 and episode 10, and look at the wedding episode, there's a few other ones earlier in the season that did very unique things with the way they told the story visually. Episodes 9 and 10 of this season, I still was worried going into the, I want the show to find itself again, right?
Right.
I wanted it to reach the heights that it did in the first couple seasons, right? It doesn't mean it has to be all season long, because frankly, it didn't accomplish that in seasons 1 or 2 either. There were still points in seasons 1 or 2 where I was like, okay, what are we doing here? Mm-hmm. And then it would tell me, here's what we're doing here. And I'd be like, this is fantastic. It didn't really have that in season 3. There was all this negativity. We talked ad nauseum about how people want to hate this show now. They have gone, and people have turned on the Bear and are rooting against it. Not everybody. A vocal minority online is my belief. And critics, I think have kind of turned on it as well. But I wanted this show to reach the heights that it once did, and I think it did that. And I think it maybe surpassed them with episodes 9 and 10 of this season, capping it off. This was my second favorite season behind season 2. So for me, it would go season 2, season 4, season 1, season 3. And I thought they completely recaptured what made The Bear such a great show in its first 2 seasons. They elevated things even more on a human level, got deeper with all these characters, showed real progress, like you said, inarguable progress with pretty much everyone.
Yeah.
This is a lot of characters they're dealing with. The only one that was a little shallow in terms of character development this season for me was Tina. Because it's like she just had this one thing to do.
That's a good, yeah.
She had one thing to do, and then she did it, and it was swept under the rug immediately. And I was like, okay.
Even Marcus got to rub his dad's face in the fact that he's a best new chef.
Yeah, he sends his dad that text message with, you know what I mean? Like, it just, that was the one character I was like, Yeah, and maybe there was still a little bit too much Neil Fack. But other than that, him acting like an 8-year-old boy or whatever, a 38-year-old, 8-year-old. Other than that, I loved this, man. So, and maybe most importantly, I thought they set themselves up fantastically for season 5.
I totally agree.
Because we had a lot of question marks going into this season. Is this the last one? And then when they announced that it wasn't, we were like, what the fuck, man? What are they going to keep doing this again? Like, because we were getting kind of tired of the yelling and the same conflict over and over, right? Well, now it feels like a lot of that is over. And this is going to be, like you said, like you're reading a new chapter of a book. And now, to what extent that is the case, we will have to wait and see, because what do we think season 5 of The Bear looks like? My questions are Sydney running The Bear and getting a Michelin star, question mark. Feels like that's gotta be a thing.
Yep.
Carm finding himself, or is he not in it at all? Does he take a season off? I find this show harder to buy if there's no Carm.
He's got to be there.
So I think it's probably him going and doing the work, and maybe even therapy. Fuck, I don't know. Or going through stuff with Claire, or maybe him and Claire take a road trip or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Do we think Carm comes back eventually after recapturing his love for cooking? Because I don't think it feels as full circle as it could unless he's back at the thing he started.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I could see them going either way with it, because that doesn't always happen in real life. And this show is very, very real. So, yeah, they have a lot to play with here. They put themselves in a great spot. Wonderful work from the writing staff and Christopher Storer and the whole creative team. And it's super well acted, and it can be exhausting.
Yes.
It really can be, which is why, again, I would argue the binge model makes absolutely no sense for this show. I think they're shooting themselves in the foot, but whatever. I'm not in charge of Hulu or FX. And that's all I have to say about The Bear season 4.
I'm going to save a little bit more conversation for Patreon later this week, because I've got more to say about how this show is received and reviewed, especially by fans as opposed to critics, and just some of the things that I think have happened in TV over the past 3 years that affect the way people watch things. I want to talk about that more, and then I do want to go a little bit deeper on binge versus week to week, because I did feel in this little 4-episode stretch, it's not that I could have watched 7, 8, 9, 10 all back to back to back. I'm never going to be able to watch 4 episodes of a show like that. But I do think I can see how this show makes sense as ripping off chunks of it at a faster pace than 10 episodes over 10 weeks. I do think maybe, and we've...
I hear you.
Because I feel like even our pace has been good, but I do see how I could have gotten even more out of it watching it slightly faster.
Our pace, though, I've watched it in chunks. So I watched 9 and 10 last night back to back. And I think 9 and 10 are a lot more effective if you watch them consecutively.
Watch them pretty close together. Yeah, I think I did. I did a Friday, Saturday for 9 and 10, and that's kind of been my...
It just needs to be fresh in your mind still.
That's kind of been my MO for all of our chunks, is essentially watching them over the course of a weekend. So yeah, we can talk more about that on Patreon, but all in all, I can't give my season rankings just because it's been so long since I watched season 1 especially. I feel like that's the one where I need to rewatch some of those episodes to have a good feeling.
Yeah.
But it's, I think season 2 is obviously still kind of the pinnacle, and then I think season 1 and 4 are right there beneath it. So yeah, I think we can expect this show to be back again next year, which is super exciting.
It's nice.
And I absolutely look forward to where it goes.
All right, so we will be discussing it a little bit further on patreon.com/oysters, clams, cockles later this week. Mollusk Militia, if you have been waiting to get your calls in with your takes about The Bear because you did not watch with us, you got way ahead of us or binge watched it in a week or whatever, now would be the time. Get those calls in about The Bear Season 4. But do not be afraid to call in about anything else you are watching as well. On Patreon this last several weeks, we have been talking a little bit of everything. We've talked about Emmy nominations for 2025. We've talked about other shows we are watching, like The Gilded Age.
Gilded Age.
The Age.
I'm still on season 2. Have you started Foundation yet?
Yep.
I've not.
I'm caught up.
Okay.
I'm loving it, Barrett.
Yeah, good.
I'm loving it. The mule doesn't suck. Doesn't suck. The dude, what's his name? Pierre Blebe?
Yeah, that's it.
It's Euron Greyjoy from Game of Thrones. We were worried about this.
Yes.
He sucked in Game of Thrones. That character sucked. He's really good in this. I still think it's the only questionable element of the show, unfortunately. It's not far enough into his storyline to know how it's going to work out yet,
yeah.
but so far I'm just like, Jesus Christ. He's a space pirate, dude. Like, that's what he is. He's a fucking space pirate.
The guy's a pirate, man.
He can only play pirates.
He can only play pirates.
It's the pirate's life for him.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so we can talk some Foundation if y'all are caught up on that. I guess Barrett's not watching yet, so maybe not. But
and
spoiler-free Foundation
Gilded Age and Foundation, spoiler-free if you can help it, because I'm not fully up to date on those. I did start the new Lena Dunham show on Netflix. It's called Too Much.
I saw Lena in the Criterion closet last week.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like it's my duty as a millennial to watch her new show.
What's it called?
Too Much.
Too Much.
I think.
What is it on?
Netflix.
Okay.
Yeah.
New Lena Dunham?
Yep.
I won't, but you will.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
She is, I will let you know, she is not the star of the show. She is in the show, but she is a tertiary character.
That's huge.
And Megan Stalter from Hacks, Jimmy's assistant.
Oh, she's fantastic.
She's the lead. So
okay, great.
If that helps you, and then I'll also give you one more carrot. Emily Ratajkowski is also in this show.
Wow. Damn it. That's a lot of carrots. Okay, yeah. Another big thing, big announcement. Next week on patreon.com/oysters, clams, cockles, Barrett and I, for the second time in the history of our almost 10-year-old podcast now, are going to revisit and podcast episodically about a, what's the word?
A Pantheon show.
A Pantheon television series.
That's right.
Known as The Wire on HBO.
Oh my, coming. I've never seen it.
But that's... It works. It's relevant.
There's no telling how many times I've used the GIF of price of the brick going up.
Yep. Yeah. An all-time good... Dude, so many good GIF moments, and we will be pointing all of them out as we cover this show episodically. So now here's the gist of it, a very quick explanation. If you've never tuned in for, like, say, our coverage of The Sopranos that exists exclusively on patreon.com/oysters, clams, cockles, over the course of the pandemic, Barrett and I did an episode of our podcast for every single episode of The Sopranos, where we talk through it, review it. Barrett had never seen The Sopranos before. I had seen it like 7 or 8 times through. We are basically replicating that, except with The Wire. The only difference will be that with The Sopranos, we were able to do season 1 through season 8. Without any breaks.
Yeah.
We will be taking breaks with The Wire. So we will try to break off seasons. I'm guessing we could probably do maybe 2 seasons in full before we get to our next show that we need to cover episodically, which I believe will probably be A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. We'll just have to wait and see what the calendar looks like.
Exactly. It's TBD.
But we can pause when we need to.
Right.
And then we will return to it.
We want to cover shows that are worth covering, that are part of the mainstream current zeitgeist when they pop up. And it is not always a perfect science to predict what those are going to be. We've referenced Shogun as a great example of that. So yeah, we may be stopping after season 1 if something absolutely just touches the third rail and we have to jump on and cover it, or maybe we get 2 or 3 seasons in before Night of the Seven Kingdoms. TBD. We'll just have to play that by ear, but it will definitely give us something meaty to chew on Patreon. This type of coverage has always been really successful for us, and y'all seem to really like it. So I think we should all be looking forward to this.
I'm very excited. I watched episode 1 of The Wire just to kind of help us make this decision and wet the palate. And dude, it's just so good. It is pretty much a consensus all-time great TV show. A lot of people consider it to be the best show ever made. That's usually people that are over 40 years old, I would note. It's definitely in my top 5.
Yeah.
Arguably top 3, arguably number 2. So it's really, really, really fun. There are a ton of great characters. It delves into all kinds of different things, which Barrett and I are fortunately now at a point in our lives where we have a little bit more experience to talk about, such as politics, law enforcement, street crime, schools, the education system, and dock workers. We're really big on dock workers.
Right.
You and I know a lot about the shipping industry. So yeah, we're going to be covering The Wire exclusively on patreon.com/oysters, clams, cockles. Of course, it will be ad-free, just as everything else on patreon.com/oysters, clams, cockles is. And we will provide a little more detail on this front. But we will be doing season 1, episode 1 of The Wire next week on patreon.com/oysters, clams, cockles. Still some decisions to be made as far as what we're going to talk about here on our ad-based show over the coming weeks, because I think we have quite a bit of a break here before we get to anything that we're both going to be watching but there's like Welcome to Derry is coming out at some point. Something on HBO will likely be worthy of us talking about on our ad-based show at some point in 2025, we hope.
We've mentioned Task, which I think comes out in September. That's the new one from Brett Inglesby, who did Mayor of Easttown.
Oh, yeah.
That looks pretty sick. So there's definitely stuff coming. I don't know if you're going to be tuning into this Alien Earth show on FX.
Yeah, I don't know.
No? Okay.
I don't know. It won't be high priority.
I will.
Nothing against the Alien series.
I'm working as hard as I can. The baby situation has entered a phase where my evening TV watching time has been getting absolutely swallowed up, which is why I am not fully caught up on the Gilded Age yet. But I'm going to work to get up on the Gilded Age and on Foundation before too long here. So hopefully we're able to touch on those current seasons before they're over.
So join us on patreon.com/oysters, clams, cockles. If you want to make sure you're getting everything we drop, just join the Mollusk Militia. That's the easiest way to do it. But like I said, more details to come on the Wire coverage starting later this week. You can tune in on social media. We're on all the platforms, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, etc. So that'll do it. Thank you all for riding through the bear with us. We will be discussing it a little bit further on patreon.com/oysters, clams, cockles with hotline calls from the Mollusk Militia later this week. You can also holler at Barrett and I on social media at Barrett Dudley, on Twitter and Instagram at WR Bolin for me on those same platforms. Thanks for being here with us. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Looking forward to hearing everyone's reactions on Patreon and reading them on social media. Until next time, remember, everything in life is just for a while.